As you can see, I'm driving. It is January, and it is almost 70 degrees in Texas. And about a week ago, it was like 30 degrees, 25 degrees. So the weather in Texas can be hot one minute and cold the next. So this is the video of the day. What are we going to talk about? Let's talk about what happens when you have a vending machine in a location and people seem to be ignoring the machine. They're ignoring the candy inside the machine. What do? There's several things you can do. I remember when I bought a route out here in the Dallas area, and it had about 50 locations, 50 machines working, probably 30 locations. And that guy was smart enough to put 2 machines in every location, or not every location, but almost every location. And the thing is, he kind of ignored his machines. I guess that's why he was selling the route, because he was kind of disillusioned, or he fell out of love of the business. He had another business on the side, so I guess the vending business was his secondary business, and he really wasn't in love with that business, so he neglected it. And what I noticed when I was cleaning the machines is there was a lot of old candy at the bottom, like old crumbs of peanuts and Boston baked beans and things like that. He never really cleaned the canisters out when he changed out the candy. He basically just plopped in new candy. You know, he'd run out of candy, maybe there'd be a few pieces on the bottom, and he'd just throw some more candy on top of the old stuff. And it was kind of a machine that didn't have a triangular bottom to it. So in other words, the candy didn't all slide down. In other words, if you have a machine like a Vendesign machine, at the bottom of the machine it's shaped like this, so all of the candy will go downward, and you never really have old, you could have old candy in there, but most of the candy is kicked out at the bottom eventually. If you have a machine that's flat on the bottom and there's a wheel in the center, some of the candy is around the edges, and that will stay there forever if you let it. When you have a machine like that, and I'm talking about like a 1-800 vending machine. Here's a photo of one. But when you have a machine like that, you just kind of have to scoot the candy into the pockets when it's near the empty point. We had a saying in the restaurant business when I was working in the restaurants, first in, first out. Basically, the first product that comes in, that should be the first product that goes out to the customer. So if you have a product that comes in today and a product that comes in tomorrow, well, the stuff that comes in today has to be sold before the product that comes in tomorrow is sold. Does that make sense? Even though the product tomorrow will be fresher, you want to get rid of your old inventory first, if you can. To a point, you don't want to sell old product, old food, old candy. You really want to try to make sure that all of the candy in your machines are fresh. And that comes to another question of what do you do with older candy that you really want to get rid of? Several options. Throw it away. Number one, take a loss. It's better to take a loss with old candy than to leave it in the machine and then nobody's happy with the machine and then they end up ignoring the machine. You don't want them to ignore the machine. So I guess that's the topic of the day. What do you do with a machine that's ignored? Okay. So let me go back to the story I was starting to tell you about the man that sold me a route. And one of the locations was in a business that employs people that have deficiencies in their thinking. I guess you call them so one of the places that I bought was a place that hires people that. So one of the places where I put a vending machine, or where I had a vending machine, the people that are employed there, they have impaired thinking. They're not. They're sweet as can be. They act like children, to be honest. They're very curious, like children are. and they always want to come up and see what you're doing, and they're very inquisitive, and they're the nicest people, I have to admit. And I noticed that the machine was rusted and it was dirty, so I took those two machines out of there and I cleaned them up really well, and then I painted them, but I painted them really festive colors. And I figured, well, since these people are, since they act a little bit like children, let me pretend they're children and paint the machines in a way that children would like, with a colorful design on both machines. It was really pretty on both machines, actually. And I noticed that my sales went up probably 30% just from that one location. So what do you do if you have a machine in a place that doesn't have children or doesn't have people that think like children? What you can do is you can move the machine. Sometimes just moving the machine closer to the front door helps with your sales. People, as they're running out the door, maybe they don't want to walk 10 feet over to where the sink is and grab a handful of candy. But if you have a machine that's right by the front door, they're thinking, man, I'm walking right out the door. There's the machine. It's right next to me. I've got a quarter in my pocket. I want a little sweet right now. So sometimes that'll help your sales go up a little bit. You got to also remember that you want to keep your machines in a place where there are people watching it. You don't want to put it somewhere where there's nobody watching it, because that machine will end up disappearing. Another thing that I found that you can do to make your sales go up is put a different candy in. Like if you come back month after month and you find that there's only a few dollars in the machine and nobody's touching your candy and it's not going down, well, you can put in new candy, hoping that that will entice the people that work there. But what I have found is that doesn't really work that well. And if you guys feel like it does, if you have had experience where it does work, let me know, because from what I've seen, putting in fresh candy and leaving the machine the way it is doesn't really entice the people to buy the candy. But what I have found is, if you tell somebody that works there, tell them, look, the machine is dirty, I haven't cleaned it in a while, let me take it home and I'll give it a good thorough cleaning. And then what you do is you bring a machine back that doesn't even resemble what you had in the first place. So if you have a Vendesign machine, take it out, and what you bring back is a U-turn machine. And that way it gives people the idea that, hey, I didn't just take this home and bring it back as it was. I brought back a totally different machine. And that will entice people also to, buy your candy. So keep everything fresh. Always wear gloves, as I always say. Be there once a month if you can. Be friendly to the people that work there. Every now and then I'll give out a handful or two of candy for the employees. I don't try to do it, if there's 20 people sitting in the break room while I'm, cleaning the machine, I don't start handing out candy to everybody. I mean, you can if you want to, if you really feel like you want to, reward the people that are there buying your candy. I'll do a handful or two, per visit. And then I always tell everybody, don't tell anybody that I did this, make them feel special. And maybe that person will be a little more observant of your machine. They feel a little special. They feel like that you're treating them a little more sweetly, so they want to treat you a little better, so they may pay more attention to your machine. And then when it goes empty, if your number's on the machine, they'll call you. There's one guy that I know where, whenever my machines are low, he calls me. And of course, every time I go there, I give him a big handful of candy. I guess he calls me to get the free candy, and I give him the free candy for him to call me. So we have a good symbiotic relationship with that. All right, so that's the video of the day, dropping off a machine. I have a car dealership that I'm working with. I have 2 machines in that car dealership. I told them I don't see any little gumball machines, and that's what I do for a living. Would you be allowed, or would I be allowed to bring in a little gumball machine and place it here in your break room? And they said, yeah, no problem. And then a couple months later, I put one in another part of the building, and then today I'm going to do the same thing. So now I have 3 machines in one car dealership. So get the deal, get the sale. How do you get the sale? You go out knocking on doors and asking people, can I put a little gumball machine in your store? I work with XYZ charity, and we will be happy to serve it every 30 days, and always be closing. Try to get that deal. Wherever you go, if you're eating lunch somewhere, if you're eating dinner somewhere, look around. If you're getting your hair cut, if you're getting an oil change, if you're buying shoes, especially mom and pop businesses, look around, see if there's a machine in the corner, see if there's a machine in the front doorway area. You're getting your hair cut. Thank you for cutting my hair. By the way, you don't have a little gumball machine in your front door. This is what I do for a living. Would you be all right if I placed one in your store? You know, sometimes they'll say, well, we have to talk to the manager. They're not here right now. The other day I was at a store and I said, hey, I know you guys have a chain. This is a chain business, a business that has many locations throughout the area. I said, if you guys can get me in to any of those other locations, I'll pay you $25. Immediately, the guy got out his phone and he started calling the other people at the other stores. Maybe he knows so-and-so, he worked with so-and-so, and so he's trying to make a deal. I'm going to pay him $25 if I can get into the other location. So I hope that helps you with your vending business. We always love the thumbs up. We, meaning I love the thumbs up, love the feedback, and please subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Have a good day.